What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I have my Heisman watch after Rivalry Week, heading into Conference Championship Week. This is the last week for these candidates to prove themselves, although I think heading into Conference Championship Week, there is a clear favorite for the Heisman Trophy, and this incredible Heisman race, really been a great one this season, might be coming to an end, as I think there's a clear favorite, but we'll get more into that when we start the video. But I just want to say first, thank you for clicking on the video. Please consider subscribing. If you love college football, you love my channel. I make college football content daily. But I'll give my top 5, but I'll give my honorable mentions first. Here's my first honorable mention. I have Bo Nix, the quarterback for Oregon. Bo Nix has just had an incredible season. A guy who was really up in the Heisman conversation a few weeks ago, especially in the eyes of sports bettors and the odds and all that. He was really high up there, and he has just kind of fell from grace. Not to take away from the amazing season he's had. 3,897 yards, 41 touchdowns, and a 167 passer rating. That is incredible. Better than any of his years at Auburn. And if you watch me, you know that he's my least favorite athlete like ever. I can't stand him, but I got to give him credit. He has had an amazing season, and I think really helped his draft stock. My next honorable mention, I have Drake May, another guy who I really had really high up in my Heisman conversation just a few weeks ago. And statistically, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, throwing for 4,476 total yards, ground and passing, 41 touchdowns on a 165 passer rating. He has balled out and had one of the best freshman college football seasons of all time, and not enough people are talking about it. I really hope he transfers to Alabama. Roll Tide, roll. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. There's been some speculation, but that's not for me to talk about right now. But he's had truly an amazing season, but the losses to Georgia Tech and NC State at the end of the season have just killed his chances. But not to take away, again, from the amazing season he's had this year. And I can't wait to watch him come back next year. And my last honorable mention is Hendon Hooker, the quarterback for Tennessee. Another guy I don't really like, but another guy I have to respect. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback for Tennessee, obviously had those really bad 2 losses to Georgia and South Carolina, which knocked him out immediately. But he also tore his ACL in the South Carolina game a few weeks ago, which just put him out. But I got to give him credit. He made people care about Tennessee football for the first time in a very long time. And he still has some of the best stats in the nation. 3,565 yards, 32 touchdowns, and a 176 passer rating. Really, really talented guy, and I'm sorry he had to tear his ACL. But let's get into my top 5. At number 5, I have Blake Corum. I simply have him 5 for respect reasons. I just got the notification earlier today that he will not be playing the rest of the season. He is ruled out. And that is really unfortunate. You hate to see it, praying for him. But he's had just a great season. And it really hurts that he can't win the Heisman because he's had that great of a season. This running back for Michigan has put up 1,543 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 6 yards per touch. He's going to end the season with those stats, and those are amazing stats. This past weekend versus Ohio State, he didn't play much. 2 carries for 6 yards. Nothing there. And it's like I said, it's a shame. But I got to give him respect. Number 5, Blake Corum. At number 4, I have Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett, a guy who was high up on my list after the Tennessee game, and he has just fell. His stats truly don't just line up with the other guy's stats. And that's really his only downfall. I mean, he is quarterback for the best team in the nation, the number 1 defending champs, undefeated. But, I mean, his counting stats are not there. On the season, he has 3,341 yards, 23 touchdowns to 6 picks, a 151 passer rating, 8.6 yards per attempt, and a 67% completion percentage. Not bad numbers by any means, just pales in comparison to some of these other guys. And another mediocre performance versus Georgia Tech this last week really just solidified the end of his Heisman hopes. Versus Georgia Tech, he had 161 yards, 2 touchdowns on a 158 passer rating. Again, not a bad stat line at all, but it is not He really needed to end the season strong. It is not what's going to win him the Heisman. So number 4, I have Stetson Bennett. This week he'll play LSU in the SEC Championship. Number 3, I have Max Duggan, the quarterback for TCU, a guy that's not getting enough national respect. Max Duggan and Drake May are criminally underrated, even though a lot of people respect them in high regard. If these guys played for more blue blood teams, they might be the favorite for the Heisman, I tell you. But Max Duggan having an incredible season, and he really, really impressed me versus Iowa State this past week. Versus Iowa State, one of the best defenses in the country. To me, a top 10 defense. He hung up 62 points, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 186 passer rating. That is insane. And Max Duggan just capping off an incredible regular season where he threw for 3,364 yards, 34 touchdowns, and only 3 picks, a 171 passer rating, 9.2 yards per attempt, and a 67% completion percentage. Yes, Max Duggan, amazing season, and TCU is undefeated and going to make the playoffs. And I really like Max Duggan. I've been singing his praises since the beginning of the year. I think he's an incredible quarterback. He'll have a chance to boost his stock this week versus Kansas State in the Big 12 Championship. At number 2, I have C.J. Stroud. I think he still deserves that 2 spot even after this loss. And I give him that because he didn't play terrible. Now, did he play great? He didn't play great, but I say he played good. He didn't play terrible, though. This past weekend versus Michigan, the biggest game of the year, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks, and a 131 passer rating. Again, not terrible, but not great, especially in the biggest game of the year. He finishes his season, most likely the end of his season, with 3,414 yards, 37 touchdowns to 6 picks, a 176 passer rating, 9.44 yards per attempt, which is insane, and a 66% completion percentage. Do not underestimate the season this guy has had. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He's going to be a top 5 pick in my opinion, and he absolutely should be. He's very talented, and even though I'm not a really big Ohio State fan, I do respect him a lot. But at number 1, the clear-cut favorite, and honestly, I don't see a way he loses the Heisman Trophy unless he just absolutely stinks it up this week, which I don't think will happen. At number 1, I have Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC, a guy who's been kind of low on my Heisman watch most of the season, but after week 12, he skyrocketed to number 2, and after rivalry week, he skyrocketed to the favorite. This past weekend versus Notre Dame, one of the best defenses in the entire country, he hung up 267 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 185 passer rating. What a game from Caleb Williams, and he even struck the Heisman pose. That caps off one of the most amazing seasons of the year, the most amazing season to me. That's why he's the favorite. He had 4,063 yards, 44 touchdowns to only 3 picks, a 169 passer rating, 9.1 yards per attempt, and a 66% completion percentage. What a season this guy's had, and it really helps that he's heating up now. These last 2 games have been incredible. The game versus UCLA, which was high scoring close, and he put up 500 yards and several touchdowns. And then this past game versus Notre Dame, one of the best defenses, where he put up near 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. What a season Caleb Williams has had. You got to give a lot of credit to Lincoln Riley, too. Lincoln Riley, quarterback whisperer, offensive genius, and him and Caleb Williams have done something great. In my opinion, Caleb Williams will win the Heisman Trophy. This weekend, he plays Utah, a good chance to avenge their only loss of the season, and I think a good chance that Caleb Williams puts up another Heisman performance and maybe gets a Heisman moment out of it. I really like Caleb Williams. I think he's going to change an NFL franchise one day. He is super talented. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Who is your favorite for the Heisman? What do you think of the Heisman race this year? Let me know in the comments below. Peace out.